A steel box that once hauled sneakers across the Pacific Ocean is now hanging off the edge of a cliff in Colorado, with floor-to-ceiling glass and a view that real estate agents would kill for. Another one built from 134 shipping containers is sitting in Antarctica right now, keeping scientists alive through 100-mile-an-hour winds. And one in Brooklyn has 5 bedrooms, a home cinema with a 90-inch screen, and a soaking tub with its own private terrace made from the same corrugated steel boxes you see stacked on cargo ships. Shipping containers were built to survive the ocean. Now people are turning them into some of the most jaw-dropping homes on the planet, and a few of them are honestly a little insane. Stick around, because by the end of this video you'll see the ones perched on cliffs, the one buried in a hillside, and the one that almost got someone in serious trouble with an engineer. Before we get into it, hit subscribe, because we cover container homes, barndominiums, and unconventional builds every single week. And drop a comment. Would you actually live in a container home hanging off a cliff edge? I want to know if you're brave enough. Now let's get into it. Let's start simple. A shipping container home is exactly what it sounds like, a house built from one or more steel intermodal containers, the same ones stacked by the thousands on cargo ships and freight trains. Most start life as a standard 20-foot or 40-foot high-cube box, built to carry tens of thousands of pounds across an ocean and get stacked 9 containers high without buckling. That strength is exactly why builders love them. You're not starting with lumber and drywall, you're starting with a steel skeleton that's already engineered to survive a hurricane at sea. Builders cut window and door openings into the steel, weld sections together, add insulation, plumbing, and wiring, then either leave the corrugated steel exposed for that industrial look or clad it entirely so you'd never guess it used to haul cargo. And in 2026, this isn't a fringe experiment anymore. What began as a niche solution for sustainable living has matured into a mainstream housing option that balances affordability with architectural ambition. The homes going up this year come with smart home systems and real architectural detailing, not just a box with a door cut into it. So why steel instead of studs and shingles? The first reason is speed. A traditional home can take the better part of a year or more from permit to move-in. A container build can be framed, sealed, and livable in a fraction of that time. The second reason is cost, and this is where it gets interesting. Entry-level container builds, small ones around 160 square feet, are running roughly $15,000 to $25,000 for the shell and a basic interior. Compare that to the average price of a traditional home, which sat around $412,000 in 2025. That gap is exactly why so many people are looking at steel boxes instead of a 30-year mortgage. The third reason is sustainability. Every container used as a home is one less box getting scrapped or left to rust in a yard, and the used shipping container market has become a genuine pipeline for affordable housing. Some industry estimates put the global modular and container housing market on track to reach into the tens of billions of dollars by the end of this year. This isn't a niche trend anymore. It's a real segment of the housing industry. Now for the part you're actually here for, the craziest builds on the planet, starting with the ones that shouldn't even be possible. Perched on a rocky outcrop in the wilds of Colorado sits a home site index equals 8-1, designed by Tomachek Studio. Architecturally daring, with the top-level cantilevering out over the lower story, creating an unusual enclosed balcony with far-reaching views of the undulating countryside/site. Step inside and it's just as dramatic. Site index equals 8-1. A spectacular floating staircase and sliding glass doors that run the entire length of the room. So the exterior terraces and rugged landscape seem to bleed straight into the living space/site. Over in Australia, on the edge of the Otway coast, 3 containers were set up on stilts to build a holiday home overlooking a hillside, steel legs holding a full house above a slope most builders would never touch. And in Chile, one architect took the opposite approach entirely. Instead of perching a container on a hill, they built it into a home that grows out of the side of a hillside, where you actually walk downstairs to enter your own front door. Every one of these builds asks the same question. How do you anchor tons of steel to unstable ground without it sliding off the mountain? We'll get to that engineering in a minute because it's wilder than you'd think. Not every container home is minimalist. Some go in the completely opposite direction. In Brooklyn sits a container home that remains site index equals 9-1, one of the borough's most iconic and unusual pieces of architecture/site, since it was completed in 2016. Inside, there's site index equals 9-1, an open-plan living room, a kitchen and dining area, 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, a den, and a home cinema with a suspended 90-inch television/site. The top floor holds a site index equals 9-1, master suite with an in-room soaking tub, twin powder rooms, and a 22-foot wide walk-in closet/site. Plus site index equals 9-1, 500 square feet of exterior terraces/site, one connected directly to the bedroom. There's even a temperature-controlled wine cellar in the basement. Read that again. A wine cellar and a private terrace off the master bedroom built from the same steel boxes that get thrown around by cranes at a shipping port. If you want proof these things can survive almost anything, look south. Literally. In Antarctica, architects' site index equals 10-1, used 134 shipping containers to define the usable spaces and act as the structural system for an entire research station/site. Built to be sustainable and easy to disassemble in one of the most hostile environments on the planet. Because of the site index equals 10-1, extreme cold and powerful winds, the containers were clad in an insulated, aerodynamic metal skin that was specifically tested and optimized for those conditions/site. Inside, it's a fully functioning base site index equals 10-1, laboratories, storage, a workshop and garage on the lower level, more than 20 bedrooms, a kitchen, dining room, library and fitness room on the second, and an air conditioning system with a terrace for scientific experiments on the third/site. That's not a tiny home anymore. That's a small city, built from cargo boxes, surviving conditions that would tear a normal building apart. Beyond the extreme examples, the real skill in container homes is squeezing an entire life into a box that's roughly 8 feet wide. Builders are stacking containers vertically to create multi-level homes rather than sprawling out. One recent design stacks 3 separate containers to form a coastal retreat, using a compact module just for the staircase connection between levels, and an elevated container purely as a lifted master bedroom. It's basically Tetris, but with 8,000-pound steel pieces. Other builds go for a fully open great room by placing 2 40-foot containers side by side and cutting out the shared interior wall entirely, instantly doubling the usable width without doubling the footprint on the ground. And in Northern Ireland, one home combines careful cladding with heavy structural modification so effectively that the finished house appears to almost float above the farmland it sits on, a shipping container doing an impression of a hovering glass box. Here's the part most container home videos skip completely: the safety and structural reality behind these builds. Shipping containers are engineered to be strongest at the corners, where they're designed to stack and lock with other containers on a cargo ship. The moment you cut a window or a door into the sidewall, you're removing steel that was doing structural work, which means every single opening needs reinforcement, usually with steel framing welded around the cut, or the whole wall can lose its rigidity. For cliffside and stilt-based builds specifically, the real engineering fight isn't the container, it's the foundation underneath it. Builders are drilling deep pier footings into rock or using engineered steel columns anchored well below the frost line. Because a multi-ton steel box perched on a slope needs a foundation that can handle both the weight and the sideways forces from wind and shifting soil. Get that wrong, and you don't have a design flaw, you have a home sliding downhill. Then there's insulation. Steel conducts heat and cold incredibly efficiently, which means an uninsulated container can turn into an oven in summer and a freezer in winter. Every serious build uses spray foam or rigid insulation on the interior or exterior walls specifically to break that thermal bridge. It's not optional. It's the difference between a home and a metal shed. And one more thing nobody mentions: rust. Steel that spent years at sea has already been exposed to salt air. And if the paint and sealant aren't reapplied and maintained, corrosion can quietly eat through the structure from the outside in. Builders now inspect for rust and reseal welds and cut edges before anyone moves a single piece of furniture in. So should you actually build one? Let's be straight about it. On the plus side, speed, cost, and durability. A shell that would take a traditional crew close to a year can be framed and enclosed in months. Entry-level builds can start in the $15,000 to $25,000 range for the shell alone. And the steel core is genuinely stronger than typical wood framing against wind and impact. But there are real trade-offs. Structural modification, cutting openings, adding reinforcement, Insulating a steel box properly adds cost fast, and a fully finished container home can climb well past that entry-level number depending on size and finishes. Financing is also harder. Many lenders and appraisers still don't have a clean process for valuing container construction the way they do a stick-built home, which can complicate mortgages and resale. And depending on your city or county, permitting can be unpredictable, since a lot of building departments are still writing the rules for container construction as they go. It's not that container homes are worse, it's that the challenges are different from what you deal with in a conventional build. And anyone considering one needs to go in with eyes open. A few things that surprise almost everyone when they first learn about container homes. 1. A single 160 square foot starter container build can be completed for less than the down payment on a traditional home in most US cities. 2. Some builders are now buying containers that already come with doors, windows, and interior finishes pre-installed. Some even engineered to fold flat for shipping and then expand back out once they arrive on site, cutting labor time dramatically. 3. One builder profiled this year completed an entire off-grid container home for around $45,000 and is living independent of the power grid, proof that crazy doesn't always mean expensive. Sometimes it just means resourceful. And for the very first fully container-built home in some US housing markets is only just now hitting the market in 2026, as part of planned communities with dozens of container homes going up together rather than one at a time, meaning this trend is still in its early innings. If any of these builds surprised you, smash that like button. It tells us to keep making videos like this. And seriously, tell us in the comments. Cliffside container home with a glass wall over a canyon. Would you actually sleep in that? Or would the anxiety keep you up all night? So here's where it lands. Some people want the Antarctic research station's brute survival engineering. Some want the Brooklyn mansion's wine cellar and home cinema. Some want the quiet minimalism of a 160 square foot starter build tucked into the woods. But the ones that stick with you, the ones that actually earn the word crazy, are the ones hanging off a cliff edge or growing straight out of a hillside, daring gravity to prove them wrong. Shipping containers were never supposed to become homes. They were built to survive a container ship in a storm, get stacked 9 high on a dock, and get forgotten. Instead, they're becoming some of the most creative, resilient, and genuinely stunning homes being built anywhere on Earth in 2026. That's the craziest shipping container homes on the planet, from research stations in Antarctica to mansions in Brooklyn to homes that shouldn't structurally be possible on the side of a cliff. If you want more real, honest breakdowns of unconventional homes, the costs, the engineering, and the stuff nobody else tells you, subscribe to Barndominium and Modern Tiny Homes, because we've got a lot more of these coming. And before you go, drop your answer in the comments. Would you live in a container home on a cliff edge? Or is that a hard pass for you? I read every single one. See you in the next video.